This video is covering the Chapter 7 if practice exercise, and I am on if statement 6. This one is going to be on nested if formulas, which is an if inside of an if inside of an if. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to change my test scores so they make more sense when I do the if statement. I'm going to make test 1 15%, test 2 20%, and test 3 25%. These still add up to 100%. This is a very standard grade sheet for me. So I have everybody's assignments, and then I have average of the assignments. This is the assignment percentage of the final grade. Test 1 grade times 15%. Test 2 grade, in this case test 2 is 2 parts, so this will be an average of test 2 times 20%. Test 3 times 25%. So I'm going to do formulas first, and then I'll calculate the final grade, and then I'll calculate the letter grade. Average of all lessons, I'm going to select all the cells that have grades in them, and then on the home tab, auto sum down arrow, choose average, and it will put the average of all those selected cells in the last blank cell it sees. And this was obviously already formatted, so the average for the first person is 93.2. Test 1 grade was 100. Test 2, they had 2 parts to the grade, so I want to do an average of 2A and 2B. So I can either click here and do average. Again, Excel wants to select everything connected to it, so I just have to tell it, okay, I only want to average these 2 cells. And copy that formula down. Now this one has green triangles on it. That's because Excel is saying, gee, that's different from all your other formulas. So anytime you get a green triangle, doesn't mean it's wrong. Just click on the exclamation point and see what it says. And this says formula omits adjacent cells, which doesn't mean it's wrong. That's exactly what I wanted to do, but Excel is assuming that there might be a problem. And then test 3 grade is here. So my final grade is lesson grade times assignment average plus test 1 grade times test 1 percentage plus test 2 grade times test 2 percentage plus test 3 grade times test 3 percentage. So these add up to 100%, and when I'm done, this will also be 100%. So my formula is equals. I don't have to put parentheses in here, but it makes it easier to read. Parentheses average of all lessons times the assignment percent, parentheses plus, parentheses test 1 grade times the test 1%, parentheses plus, parentheses, the test 2 average grade that I just calculated times test 2 percentage, parentheses plus, parentheses, test 3 grade times the test 3%, and parentheses enter. So it's easier to read because then it's L3 times B22, and I can say, okay, there's L3 and there's B22 plus M3 times B23, here's M3, and here's B23. And this is why I changed the percentages so it wasn't all 20%. It was a little different. And that way I can see here's my lesson grade, here's my test 1 grade, here's my test 2 grade, here's my test 3 grade. I could have done this without parentheses, but it's just easier to read with parentheses. Copy my formula down. Anytime you get weird answers, be that dash or pound error sign or something, double check. Always your first formula to make sure that's right. So it's L3 times B22. This is L3. This is B22. Go down a cell, and it's L4 times B23. L4 is this value. B23 is this value. So what happens is when I copy the formula down, the first cell address, L3 went down to L4, L5, L6 because it picked up the next lesson, which made sense, but then B22 went to B23 to B24. So I need to make these cells absolute because these cells shouldn't move. So I don't want it to go down a cell. I want these cells to stay in the same place when I copy my formula down. So I go back to my first formula, click on the cell addresses I don't want to change, hit F4. If you have a laptop or a Surface or an iPad, you might need to hit Fn, the function key, in F4. B23, F4, B24, F4, B25, F4. So those are the cells, B22, B23, B24, B25, that can't move when I copy my formula down, so those are the cells I make absolute. Hit Enter, select the first formula, copy it down. I'm going to resize that. So far this is nothing different. We've done all this before. So letter grade is where I'm going to have a nested if function. On the directions called practice file advanced if statement, I go through how to actually do this. But here I will show you how I walk through it. There I show you the concept and then I show you the end answer. So what you're doing is comparing this value to these values. And in the past we've always said if it's at least 89.5, give me an A, otherwise give me another answer. What a nested if does is I can say, is it at least 89.5? Yes, get an A, and if it's not, ask another question. Is it at least 79.5? And if it is, give it a B. And if it's not, ask it another question. Is it at least 69.5? And if it is, give it a C. And if it's not, ask another question. Is it at least 65? And if it is, give it a D. And if it's not, give it an F. So this is how you make a nested if statement. So I click on the cell where the answer is going to be, go to FX, and logical, and if, and my question is final grade at least greater than or equal to 89.5? And if it's true, give them this value right here. Now, U3 and V3 should stay in the same place. They shouldn't, when I copy the formula down, they shouldn't go down a row. So I'm going to make U3 absolute. I'm going to make V3 absolute. And then in my false statement, I'm going to put in a 0 just as a placeholder. So this is going to be, my answer is either going to be A or 0. And what I'm going to do is ask a question and then test it, and then edit that question and keep changing it until I finally finish my nested if statement. Hit OK. And I got my first formula, copy it down. So my answer is 96.2 is an A. Is 96.2 at least 89.5? Yes, you get an A. Is 72 at least 89.5? No, gets a 0. 98 is at least 89.5, gets an A. 82 is not at least 89.5, so it gets a 0. So for the first rendition of this test, I put in a value of true, and then I put in a placeholder for false just to make sure it works. So I can see this is an A, this is an A, should not be an A, is an A, no, no, yes, 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 and everybody else is a no. And the reason I'm doing it in steps is because I could type in the entire answer, but if something went wrong, I wouldn't know where it went wrong. This way I can say, okay, the A part works, and then I'll add the B section and see if that works, and then I'll add the C section and see if that works. So now what I want to do is fix this formula to say, okay, if it's at least 89.5, give me an A, else ask another question, is it at least 79.5? And if it's at least 79.5, give it a B. So to do this, I click on the cell with the if statement, click on the formula bar, backspace. You can't use the wizard after this. After this, you have to do it all manually. So I put in my false statement, which is basically another if statement. If, parentheses, R3 greater than or equal to U4, and that's absolute, comma, so this is my question, then display V4, also absolute, comma, so to back up, this is my question, this is my true, and my false was 0. Now this is my question, this is my true, and now my false is going to be 0. And then if I have 2 left parentheses, I need 2 right parentheses. Probably the most common error in nested if statements is the wrong number of parentheses. So for every left parentheses, you need a right parentheses, and they're actually color-coded. Copy my formula down. Is 96.2 at least 89.5? Yes, it gets an A. Is 72 at least 89.5? No. Then ask the next question, is it at least 79.5? No. So I skip one, we'll come down to this one. Is 82.5 at least 89.5? No. Is it at least 79.5? Yes, so it gets a B. And same down here. Is 87 at least 89.5? No. Then the next question, is it at least 79.5? Yes, and gets a B. So far, A's and B's are working, and everybody else is 0 because I haven't tested for it yet. Click on the first formula. To fix the formula or to edit the formula, now I'm going to add the C section. I click on the formula bar, backspace over the parentheses and the zeros, add another if statement. And it's just if, not equals if, just if, parentheses, my question, R3 greater than or equal to, next value, U5, make it absolute, comma, and if it is, give it V5, make it absolute, comma, that was my question, that was my true, now my false is 0. 3 left parentheses, 3 right parentheses. Hit enter, copy it down, and I have at least one of each value. So, is 96 at least 89.5? Yes, give it an A. Here's a good one. Is 72 at least 89.5? No. Then ask the second question. Is it at least 79.5? No. Is it at least 69.5? Yes. So it displays a C. Here's another one. Is 71.39 at least 89.5? No. Is it at least 79.5? No. Is it at least 69.5? Yes. And give it a C. And same for this one. Now I've got my A's and B's and C's, so all I have left is D and F. So I'm going to go back to my first formula. Go to my formula bar, backspace over the parentheses and the 0. If R3 greater than or equal to 65, make it absolute. That was my question, comma, if it's true, they get whatever's in V5, make it absolute, comma. Now, the only other answer is F, so I don't have to put in 0, because if they didn't hit any of these other answers, then the only answer left is this. So now my false is the cell address, make it absolute. I have 4 left parentheses, I need 4 right parentheses. 1, 2, 3, 4. Enter. And now everyone should either be A, B, C, D, or F. So I copy my formula down. Let's find one. 65. Is 65 at least 89.5? No. Is it at least 79.5? No. Is it at least 69.5? No. Is it at least 65? Yes. So it gets a D. Here's one. Is 63.11 at least 89.5? No. Is it at least 79.5? No. Is it at least 69.5? No. Is it at least 65? No. So it gets what's left, and that's what's left, and it gets the F. Is 51 at least 89? No. Is it at least 79? No. Is it at least 69? No. Is it at least 65? No. That's an F. 64.82. Could be 64.999. Is it at least 89.5? No. Is it at least 79.5? No. Is it at least 69.5? No. Is it at least 65? Now if I displayed this without decimals, it would look like 65, but Excel looks at the actual value, not at the displayed value. So as far as Excel is concerned, this is 64.82 and it is not 65. So therefore, it is not at least 65, so it gets what's left over, which is an F. So this is a nested if statement, very long. It can go 7 levels deep, like in the example, I could say, is it Monday, do this, else if it's Tuesday, do this, else if it's Wednesday, do this. And I could do it for days of the week because I can go 7 levels, but I could not do it for months because I can't say, is it January, do this, if it's February, do that, because I'd run out of space once I hit July. If your nested if has to go beyond 7 levels, you need to do a lookup table, and there's VLOOKUP, which is vertical lookup, and HLOOKUP, which is horizontal lookup. Those are like the tax tables, and we'll look at those in level 2. But this is a nested if, and very useful when you have to look at a lot of values, and it's just easier to say, okay, you're an A, you're a C, you're an A, you're a B, and there's no argument and there's no question as to whether this is the correct answer or not. So that is a nested if. Thanks.